Hello friends, Tanya here with another video featuring Spellbinders products. We're going to make some treat boxes and we're going to use a bunch of wax seals. I've got some of the new wax seal beads. Here we've got orange and gold glitz. I've mixed those together in this spoon and we're going to mix cloudy sky and opal. These are not new. I'm going to mix those in another spoon. Here they are melted. I love that the opal can add some pearlescent quality to any of your waxes. We're going to start out with this Pumpkin Trio 3D, embossing, 3D wax seal. I've added some orange and gold mixture to this. I'm using my nice hot wax seal and hot palette knife to get those all nicely put together. After that cooled, I added it to a puddle of this mixture of cloudy sky and opal. We'll let that cool. While that's cooling, we're going to work on this Boo 3D wax seal. I'm going to use some glow-in-the-dark beads for the ghost part of this one, and these melt to a thinner consistency than the other beads. So don't be surprised by that. Here our pumpkin seal is done. I've carefully peeled that off of our seal. And look at that. I love the detail of these 3D wax seals. I also really enjoy creating multiple seals at once with different combinations. Here you can see I did the two-tone waxing and I did add some gold deco foil on there. Now I've been getting better at doing this technique with the wax seals. Before I was sometimes getting hot wax on my fingers, but I'm learning to, as I slide the hot palette knife up the seal, I tip the bottom of the palette knife up towards my face. That keeps the melted wax on the palette knife so it doesn't drip, and it feels a lot safer. We are on to, I think this is the cloudy sky and opal for the ghost one. We'll let that cool. And then while we're working on letting that one cool, we'll start the poinsettia one. I've got candy apple and glitz gold mixed together in the spoon. There's the finished ghost. Look at that. It glows in the dark. It's so cool. I do not know why I am such a geek for glow in the dark, but I love glow in the dark things. I think they're just so fun. Here is the Poinsettia 3D wax seal. Do you say poinsettia or do you say poinsettia? It's 50-50 chance for me. I add the candy apple and glitz gold combination onto our seal. No, this is just candy apple. And you can see that technique where I'm tipping the bottom of the palette knife up towards me. So if you've been starting this technique and you're trying to figure out how to do this a little more cleanly, that's a tip. There is the filled in 3D part, although I did see one little piece that I probably should have come back with some more hot wax and filled. The more practice you do on any technique, you're going to get better at. And the more I've been doing wax seals with this 2-wax method, the better I've become. You can see the surface that I'm putting the wax onto is just a large glass candle stand. I've had it forever, and it works really well for this. We are using the Acorn Trio 3D wax seal here. I've got some gold wax in it. I don't think I heated that wax seal enough. You can see that I'm actually having to scrape cooling wax off of it, but we'll make it work. I wasn't able to get all of that wax off, and you're going to see that in the finished product. I'm using the hot spoon to scrape off the wax off of the palette knife. Next, we're going to use, I think this is called Blue Smoke. It's in the Autumn mix, must-have Autumn mix. It is beautiful. I love this blue. I put the acorn in that one, and we're going to peel off our poinsettia seal, not steel, and that is our finished wax seal there. I think that's so pretty. And it doesn't need any extra work. This is our last seal that I'm going to undo here, and look at that gold and blue together. It is just beautiful. We're going to move on to our first project. I've got Seedless Preserves and Villainous Potion Distress Oxides here, and I am going to ink blend 2 half sheets of cardstock. So these are 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 inches. And I'm just going to start with the Seedless Preserves and then ink blend in the Villainous Potion. To keep my fingers off the ink so I don't smear it or get fingerprints or pick up ink on my fingers, I use an old acrylic block just to help me keep pressure on the paper so it doesn't slide around when I'm ink blending on it. I'm going to come back in with some Seedless Preserves to blend those 2 colors together a little better. And then I'm going to spatter it with some water. I'm not going to say clean water because this is my dirty water container, but honestly, it really doesn't matter. These are dark colors, and they don't really, they aren't really going to be affected by the dirtiness of the water. Next, we're going to take this really fun die. It's called Ribbon Box. It came out, I think, in September. I have had this video in the waiting for me to get around to doing my voiceover since mid-September. It's insane. I'm so sorry, y'all. We are going to do some foiling on this. I've cut it twice out of those 2 pieces of cardstock. I've got the spiderweb background foil plate here. No, it's a BetterPress plate, but I'm going to foil with some prism foil here. And I'm going to have to run each panel through twice because it's not big enough to cover the whole thing. I lined it up with one of the crease lines on this box die and foiled it. And then I will come back with a smaller piece of foil, prism foil, which I need to flip the correct way. You want shiny side up on the paper. And then we're going to tape the spiderweb background down in place. And we'll foil this also. And we'll have to do this for both panels, but so worth it. I love how that turned out. Now, I personally have not allowed myself to purchase any more ribbon. I have an entire drawer. When I say drawer, I mean like dresser drawer sized drawer and a half of ribbon from my Stampin' Up! Days. And for a while there, I got the Brutus Monroe kits. I don't remember what they're called, but he had a monthly creative box. And you got about 1.5 yards of 4 different colors of ribbon in each of those also, which is where I got a few of the ribbons I'm going to use today. These are anywhere from 1/2 inch to 5/8 inch ribbons that I'm using on these boxes. And this box is really easy to assemble. You can see I did all of the crease lines, and then there are just 2 little connecting flaps that you add glue to. I use wet glue because it has a better permanent bond, and I don't mind that it takes a little bit longer to dry. It's not like your instant dry with the tape roll stuff. To seal up the bottom, I'm going to add some glue to the flaps. And I start out with, I want the last 2 flaps to be the ones that are connected to the longer top portion, just for continuity, better finished product look. And so I add glue to the 3 of the flaps and close that. I'm using my bone folder to get a good seal on the inside, and that's the whole box construction. They're actually very easy to put together. Now, the ribbon part of the ribbon box are these little slots that you slide ribbon through so you can tie it shut. Often with boxes and 3D products, there isn't a great way to close them, and this solves that problem. It is so cute. And this is a nice size. It'll hold a fair amount of things. Often I put treats in these. You can put small gifts in them. I haven't tried putting a gift card in here, but it might fit. I haven't tried. I should give that a try. You're watching me fuss with this ribbon quite a lot. I'm just trying to make a nice bow. And since this is not adhered shut, you can easily open and close this box. I just want to get a nice even fluffy bow on here, and then I'll trim off the extra ribbon. It takes about a yard of ribbon to tie this shut. Once I have it trimmed off, I use a lighter to seal the end so my ribbon does not unravel. I'm trying to center this nicely, and then I am choosing which of these Ghost or Boo 3D wax seals I'm going to use. This is pastel lavender mixed with either opal or white wax to create that very pale lavender, and then the Ghost is again out of the glow in the dark stuff. I'm just using liquid glue to adhere that, and you can open that up and put your goodies inside. I've retied that bow, didn't make you watch that again. For our next one, we're going to use the holiday background panels. This came out with the Lisa Horton Christmas stuff, and I found that these panels or these backgrounds fit beautifully on the ribbon box. So I'm just going to line these up on the BetterPress. I have already laid down the panel, and I'm using the guidelines on here to help me figure out how best to line this up. I am starting with, is this the stars? It sure is. And I'm using a pigment gold ink. I don't have any of the Lisa, when I made this video, I didn't have any of the Lisa Horton interference inks. They would work amazing on here. I cannot wait to get my hands on some of those inks and try them with the letterpress system. I think they will be absolutely made to work together. So I slid that panel over and did the second one. And look at that. We have one of these panels complete. I did both of them. And then we're going to take this Festive Circles. It's a BetterPress plate and a coordinating die to cut out all 6 of these circle sentiments, and then there are backers for those, so you can make some really cute labels with these sentiments. I did this with gold on I think this is some black watercolor cardstock that I got in a kit that does not really work well for watercoloring. I thought this would be a great way to use it. It's a little extra hefty, so it gets more of that letterpress effect, and it takes ink pretty well. So I did use the coordinating die and die cut this. I think you could use this die with the 6 holes. You could use that as a great peekaboo effect. There are our 6 sentiments. They have like a stitched outline around the circles also. I'm going to cut out the backer elements, the little medallions that you can add behind our sentiments. And you've got a variety. This is like a pinking or pointy version. Kind of looks like a sun. This one's a scalloped edge, and here we have a teardrop. Now, when you put the sentiment on it, all you see is the little pointy part on top. So I'm going to add, what I do is add a scrap of cardstock behind the circle, and that creates a lovely little bit of extra depth. And I did add an extra piece of cardstock behind that also. We're going to assemble our BetterPressed star box, same as before. I've already gone through and done all the creasing for both panels here, making sure I get that lined up just right. I think I used a heavyweight white cardstock, like 110-pound white cardstock for this. Then again, I may have used watercolor paper for this also. Either would work. I do like a slightly heavier cardstock for these boxes. I think it just makes them a little more crisp and sturdy. This one, I'm not gluing the box immediately because I want to be able to fold this back down for storage until I use it. So I figured out placement for my ribbon. I've got about a yard of ribbon here, and I'm going to use a little bit of washi tape to hold that piece of ribbon in place until I can put some two-sided adhesive on here. Just going to take the backer off and fold that back over onto our box, trying to make sure it's straight and pretty centered. Now that I've got that in place, we'll adhere the sentiment that we're going to add. And I believe this says, "So very merry." This will make a really cute little Christmas treat. Then you can fold it up and glue those edges shut when you're ready to use this box. And apparently I'm going to show you me tying this again. I tend to do the 2 bunny ears method, and it works better if you start out upside down, because then your ribbon tails are in the right direction when you're finished. But I didn't remember that on this box. It'll be a few boxes before I remember that. Just trying to get my bow nice and fluffy. And again, I'm going to use a lighter to seal the end of my ribbon. That's a trick I've been using for a long time. Most of these ribbons are polyester or some kind of plastic, so that's why that works. If you're going to do a silk ribbon or something like that, I don't think natural fibers will seal up with a lighter. There is my second box. We're making 6 boxes in this video because I was having a lot of fun. And I wanted to show you a variety of ways to decorate and use these boxes. Again, we're going to use the holiday background panels. These are BetterPress plates, so you can foil or glimmer with them. I've used this Hero Arts multicolor rainbow ink pad to do the BetterPressing on this one. And then I used this sparkly one with some different metallic pigment ink. This is rose gold from Hero Arts. And then the snowflakes, I used Delicata ink on an ink blended panel to do the snowflakes, and that turned out stunning also. I also pulled out this holiday, it's Let It Snow. It's from the holiday 3-pack wax seals that came out last year. And I actually had this wax seal already prepared in my stash from one of my creative sessions from last year, and it's perfect. It has the opal background and gold lettering, and I thought it was perfect to go with this snowflake background on this box. Now, as I was creating these boxes, I got a little smarter. I used the inside of my MISTI to help keep the edges of this box lined up and square. It wasn't really hard to do that, but I thought that was a really easy and convenient way to make sure my box edges were straight. This time I took some tape and double-sided tape and added it to the box first. I'm having a little trouble getting enough pressure on here to peel that backer off. So that was not my favorite method. We're doing all kinds of trial and error here, so you don't have to. This is some pretty narrow tape. I don't remember. This is probably a 1/4 inch. I think at the beginning of this, I said I was using 1/2 inch to 5/8 inch. What I really meant was 1/4 inch to 5/8 inch. That all fits through this little hole. Dig through your stash for ribbons. I bet you can find any number of ribbons that'll work with this box. Now that I have the ribbon adhered, I will tack the wax seal down with some liquid glue again. And this ribbon happened to have some diagonal cut to the tip already, which makes it easier to thread these through. And this ribbon, I'm almost positive, came with one of the many Hero Arts, My Monthly Heroes. They used to wrap them in a ribbon, and it was like it was probably around 2 yards of ribbon, and it was always this 1/4 inch stuff. Now this next one, again, something from my stash. This is a Hero Arts goodie. It's a rainbow, cord. I wouldn't say it's a thread, it's a cord, and it's just dyed in rainbow colors. I thought that was perfect with this rainbow polka dot background. And I don't know how I feel about this purple and orange wax seal on it, but I mean, it doesn't clash. I'm just not sure I love it. I do love that seal. This maybe was just too light of a project, but it's on there. I'm going with it. So there's my pumpkin polka dot box. Next up, we are going to do a festive ornament. I could not resist doing this figgy pudding looking ornament. So I have all of the pieces here that I'm going to cut out. I've got a piece of white cardstock that I'm die cutting the main portion on, and I'm going to ink blend that to create my brown color. The frosting is in some brushed white cardstock, and I've got some green cardstock. I think that's sprayed. Both the red and the green, I think, are sprayed. Nope, the green is not. The red is sprayed with some Yuletide Distress Mica Stain spray, which gives it this gorgeous red shimmer. The berries have a base and then 3 berries that glue onto the base, which is very convenient, I feel. I assembled this, and then I'm just adding the little holly leaves. This is very easy to assemble, especially if you stop fussing with it. And then for the figgy pudding, I'm using some gathered twigs and walnut stain, Distress Oxide, and I did not even have to re-ink or get the ink pads out because my sponge daubers or my mini ink blenders are very juicy yet. I've been using them quite a lot lately. I had stopped using my inks for a while, and I am right back at it. I'm going to spritz it with some pearlized water. This is just perfect pearls in the perfect pearl color in water, and it adds this just lovely sparkly mist over it. And you can increase your sparkliness by adding more mica powder to it, but there is our figgy pudding. I'm adhering the frosting, and then I'll just top it off with that holly cluster that I created earlier. You can make this into an actual ornament, but I just wanted this figgy pudding look here. I've got the sparkly background on the craft cardstock. This is, I believe, Desert Storm in 100 pound that I've used here. I'm adding some extra cardstock behind our figgy pudding here. Just a couple of layers to make it stand out. With these boxes, you don't have to worry about being super flat because it's not going in an envelope, so it can have as much dimension as you would like. So I'm going to add that to the box. Next, we're going to do, I guess I didn't even show you the rest of that one. What's wrong with me? Hopefully I finish it in the rest of this video. Next, we're going to, I'm getting a sentiment. That's right. I have some white cardstock, and I'm using the rose gold here, and we're taking a sentiment from the Poinsettia stem BetterPress set. There we go. And then we're going to use an essential tags die to create a tag for this. So I'm going to die cut the sentiment part with the smaller part, or the layering piece, and craft cardstock for the backer. You can use these separate or together. And I decided I wanted a layered tag here. So I'm just going to adhere the sentiment to the backer, just directly to the paper. I'm not going to add any extra dimension behind these. Once I get them lined up nicely, there we go. It says sending cheer. Then I found some ribbon from my stash. I think this is another Brutus Monroe one. Not that he still sells this, but it came in a kit with 4 different colors, and this is one of them. And it's time to use that stuff up. Again, I told myself I could not buy any more ribbon until I've used a significant portion of the ribbon I have in my stash, because, I have a lot of ribbon. Now, I think card making is moving back into the direction of using baker's twine and ribbon on projects that had gone away for a while. Everything comes in waves of popularity. That's why I don't get rid of some of the older things, because they do end up coming back around. And I have the space to store them. Therefore, I may as well hang on to them, because then I don't have to spend that money again. I'm using some crochet thread here in ecru color to tie that to the ribbon. I had to make sure that my little tag was going to hang in the right direction. If you loop it on there wrong, it might hang backwards, and that's frustrating. Here is when I remember that if you start out upside down with your bunny tail bow ears, then your tails will hang in the right direction. Took me long enough, right? Just going to get my bow fairly fluffed out. And there is the figgy pudding one. And then we're going to pull out this sealed poinsettia stems again. And we're going to use this on some, I think this is called mahogany cardstock. I'll show you up close in a little bit. I'm using I think this is one of the satin metallics. It might be the rose gold. It's beautiful. It's like a matte polished brass. Love this. Yes, it is indeed the mahogany. This is 100-pound cardstock from Spellbinders. It foils beautifully, although with the letterpress, you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to get a gorgeous pressing. Then I took some of this Golden Glitz Delicata ink and an ink blender, and I'm adding a little bit of sparkliness coming up from the bottom of the box. This would work really well with the Lisa Horton interference inks too. Again, I did not have them yet, but use what's in your stash, man. There are both pieces here, and I was careful to add the bouquet there, the poinsettia stem, on the parts that are going to have the ribbon overlapping, because that's most likely going to be the first side that you look at. I have some organza ribbon here, again from my stash. I think this is 1/2-inch ribbon. I'm going to tie a bow in that. And I will say that this was not my favorite ribbon to work with. The twine was a little fussy, as is this. I mean, the tying of it's not bad and it looks pretty, but this is the part that was a pain in the Watusi, let me tell you. I have glued many a seal with just liquid glue, and this one gave me fits. It did not want to stick. I did eventually get it to stick. That was the 6th of the boxes that I created. Here's that glowing ghosty and the stars. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I did playing with all of the toys. Let me know which of these boxes was your favorite, and if you've gotten your hands on the Lisa Horton interference inks and played with them yet. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done that, and check the description box below for a visual link list for all of the products that I used today. Until next time, here are a couple more videos I thought you might enjoy. Bye-bye.